Hello and welcome to the Elevate series. Welcome back. This has been such a powerful last 2.5 weeks of conversations to talk about what's really going on in the marketplace right now so that entrepreneurs have enough of that early advantage to make changes in their business and to maybe adjust some of their lifestyle habits and choices to gain more resilience, more cognitive clarity. Today, guest Dave Moreno, who I actually just met not too long ago through Mark B. Murphy, who we had on the show previously. And, Dave and I have been chatting behind the scenes and, he played in the Fortune 500 world. He's grown and sold multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. Now he's coaching out of Canada. He has this badass business playbook that he's helping entrepreneurs with and moving into corporate. Speaker, soon to be best-selling author, if I may say, Dave, because you have several great books inside of you and really focusing on cornerstones of health and wealth. I think one of the things that I thought was really special about you, Dave, is your deep desire to help entrepreneurs in their relationships. And making sure that husband and wife are not getting disconnected through the experience of entrepreneurship, but growing together. Yeah. So there's just so much that I want to ask you because you have such an interesting vantage point on all of this. Deeply connected, you've been around. So thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I love conversations like this. This is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna put you in the hot seat. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know, what are you seeing out there? I mean, I've noticed a marked difference just in the last 45 to 60 days. It's like as if a light switch just went on. It was that polarizing. And I'm curious, in your networks with all of the clients you have inside of your membership, et cetera, what are some of the things that people are talking about? What stands out to you as different, not the norm?
Yeah. Like you said, I've been around the block. I've been owning businesses for the last 25 years, and I've been through what I'll call about 5 different times of chaos, right? You have the dot-com bubble was chaotic. If you weren't in tech, everyone else was suffering because tech was blowing up and you had to learn how to get in there. 2008 financial crisis, the European financial crisis, COVID. I mean, we were just through this. These aren't once in every 80-year things anymore. They're happening every 5 to 8 years. So we've been around them. And what I've realized through all of them is that there's just patterns. What people are saying about this one, and what I'm finding about this one is it's a very quiet chaos. There's been lots of signs, lots of opportunities to know that it's been coming, lots of conversation about it, but there haven't been mile markers like in the past. There's been no big breaking news alert on CNN saying we are now in a crisis, right? Pandemic started March 14th. We know exactly when it started in 2020. We know when the financial crisis, the day it happened.
Yep.
Nobody can pinpoint the day of this one. Everyone can just realize it sort of happened while everyone was sleeping. And we woke up and we all just noticed there's chaos. Now, the difference with that is everyone thinks this time is different. Everyone thinks we don't know how to do this chaos. We don't know what to do. This is unprecedented. We don't just wake up and find that the market has already shifted. We usually know it's coming. It's no different. The patterns are the same. And I've been using the exact same methods that I used in any other chaos time to learn how to not do what most entrepreneurs do, which is just go, I just need to survive. I need to get through this. No. Everyone's trying to survive right now. You have to make about 3 or 4 different shifts in your business and in your life in order to get out of survival mode during chaos like this and really learn how to thrive through it, because the greatest opportunity for wealth, for growth, for expansion is in times like this.
It's not now. It's right now.
And so you need to make those moves. You need to know what to do in order to do that. That's what I'm doing in my own business. That's what I'm helping my clients with. That's what I'm seeing out there. The ones who are making the shifts and moves now, and you even putting on something like this is a shift and a move for people to know that, an Elevate series would have been much easier to do when the world was great because the conversations would have been easier. An Elevate series during a time of downturn or chaos like this is harder to do.
It is hard.
but way more valuable today than it would be when things are great.
Oh, 100%, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Lots to unpack there. What are these 3 to 4 shifts that people need to be making in their business and personally? We'll compare notes on this.
Okay, so I know that there's going to be people watching this, and you and I are just having a conversation, but I want people to know one of the things I love to do when I do a talk or when I do a speech is to write notes for people. And so I write notes in what I call strategy papers. Books are great. Books are for knowledge. Books are for information. But this is kind of a battle plan of what to do. So I wrote a strategy paper called Thrive Through Chaos, just for our conversation and for my clients as well. And I'm going to give them away. I'm going to give it away for free to everyone at the end of this. So you can click in the Elevate series and get it. So all the notes of what I'm going to talk about are written for you. So if you're sitting there trying to scribble everything, I invite you to be present, look at the camera, listen, right? and you're good to write notes.
This is how I process, Dave.
I love people just to be present and listen and hear this and let it sink in, and then go read my notes after, and things will flow easier. So there are 4 areas that we have to talk about, or 4 areas that you're going to learn about in the Thrive book. Number 1, mental capacity. Entrepreneurs have to learn how to handle and really cry out to their mental capacity. Number 2, unreasonable hospitality. You can no longer be in the hospitality business. You can no longer just be good. Good is not good enough as a business in times like this. You have to be great.
Fact.
Right?
Yes.
Number 3, competition zero. This is one of my highest level strategies. I show my clients how to not compete with anybody, how to remove competition. You will have no competition in the world. And number 4, authentic relationships. If you master mental capacity, unreasonable hospitality, competition zero, and authentic relationships, those 4 shifts will take you out of survival. It doesn't matter what happens. You are unshakable. You are bulletproof through any chaos and any downturn we have.
Why are some people unwilling to do these things? I mean, we talked with Chad Lefebvre, and he said that the human brain doesn't like change.
Yeah.
And so even when our life is on the line, people that had recovering from a heart attack, they knew exactly what they needed to do, and they still didn't do it. And so I'm curious, you and I have so much alignment. That's been true from day one. We've definitely said mental strength and cognitive resilience is number 1, because without that, the rest of the stuff is going to be difficult. Absolutely aligned in terms of relationships and going above and beyond. Sally Hogshead was talking about over delivering and how important that is. This is a different time. You need to have different behaviors. So I guess coming back to you, will there be enough people still not doing this that creates competition zero? Do you think that, or maybe the question is, what can people do to make sure they are adopting this kind of change? I mean, anything in and around there? Do you see what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The honest truth is less than 0.20% of businesses and people in the world will change without massive pressure. They need massive pressure to change, and then they'll change. Now, even with massive pressure, you're still in single-digit percentages of businesses and people that will actually invoke change. People will talk about change, but they won't actually do it. So I know for myself, I'll have to talk to 100 entrepreneurs in order to sign 5 clients, because the most people will not change without massive pressure. During times like this, it's much easier because they're already feeling pressure outside. But most of my clients will come to me because they want to grow. Very few come to me because there's tons of pressure on them to grow. And so I'm trying to train people to make change easier. We all talk, we know we need change. We know we want it. Look, if you're overweight and you go into the doctor and they tell you you're pre-diabetic, you know exactly what you need to do to change. If you are at risk for a heart attack, you know exactly what you need to do. So few people actually do it. When they'll do it is right after they've been admitted to the hospital, they're having surgery in 24 hours because they had a massive heart attack. And they're like, I'll change. I'll do it all. I'll do it, because massive pressure is required to make the change. And so I want you to feel that I'm not asking you to change anything, because change is hard for the brain to absorb. But you know what's really easy for the brain to absorb is simplicity. I'm asking you to simplify everything. And if I tell you to simplify everything, you actually get excited. If I ask you to change everything, you get very defensive.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Simplify.
Yeah. So everything we're going to do is about simplification. It's simplifying the whole way you run your business. You're just going to find it so much easier to do it this way.
Okay. So what are some of the first things we do to simplify? What are some of the areas we tackle first?
So let's talk mental capacity, because that's number 1, right?
Okay.
Any entrepreneur who tells me they're stuck, I tell them, look, you're not stuck. You're just overloaded. No one is stuck. You have full power to change or do whatever you want, but you don't like change. So let's simplify. Okay. What I do is I call this the Thrive Matrix. The Thrive Matrix is really simple. You'll get a copy of it inside the strategy paper, but it's a piece of paper divided in 4. So you divide it in half up and down and half across. And in the top left quadrant, you write love it. In the top right quadrant, you write like it. And then you write need it. And then you write hate it. And all you're going to do is go through your week of all the tasks that you have. And you're going to divide all of your tasks that you have. We do this in a room with a bunch of people with Post-it notes. They write all their stuff on Post-it notes, and then we have a big quadrant up on the wall, and they go and they take their Post-it notes and they put them into different sections. So now we know all the tasks that you love. We know all the tasks that you like. We know all the tasks that you feel you need, which means you think you should do them. And then all the tasks that you hate. And what we do is we tell you this. 60% of your time and bandwidth goes to things that you love. Okay, 60 to 70%. Up to 30% or 20 to 30% of your time goes to things that you like. Less than 10% of your time or mental bandwidth, which means the things you think about, the time you spend thinking, go to the things you need to do, but don't necessarily love or like. 0% goes to the things you hate. So what we do is then we use the Eisenhower matrix kind of looking. We go, okay, the things we hate, we delegate. We move it out. We don't even do them anymore. The things that we need that take up more than 10% of our time, we delegate those too. And we focus all of our time on the things we love and the things we like. Because when you do things you love and like, it doesn't feel like work. It feels simple. You don't mind staying up late doing things you love. You don't mind staying at, on the weekend doing things you like. But you do mind doing things that you need and hate. And the more that we do things that we think we need and the things that we hate, we get into what we call overload, overwhelm, burnout. Those are all just fancy words for we're doing too much of what we don't like and not enough of what we do like. So we're not getting filled with fulfillment or with enjoyment of the things we love. When you started your business, I guarantee you, you liked everything because you were excited. And now you only like some things because it's not new and it's not exciting anymore. Well, you need to do this Thrive Matrix to really figure that out and simplify your role in the business and what you do. And even for solo entrepreneurs, I have clients who are solo entrepreneurs. They have to do this to really get clarity. And if that means that you remove things or you don't do it anymore, I have entrepreneurs who write, social media under hate it. And they're like, so what? Now I have to hire a social media manager? And I said, listen, what if I told you your next 5 clients are not coming from social media? What if I told you they're coming from authentic relationships? Do you love getting out and talking to people? Yes. Stop social media for a month. I promise you, it's not going to decline your business at all. You're actually going to find a simpler way to make contact with people, right? And they love it, and they see it, and they do it, and they get clients, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's against what everyone says. I'm like, no, it's against what the loudest people are saying. It's not against what everyone says.
See, everyone, see why I like this guy so much? Like, it's so refreshing to know you.
Yeah, good.
I want to tap on that for a minute because that actually taps right into my deepest core purpose in life. This whole thing about social media, because Dave, I feel like so many people say, I hate social media. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't like, having to be in the spotlight to all of these people. And I actually have such an opposite experience of social media, to where I am so clear on my own personal alignment. And I talk about that in my book, and I'm not plugging it. I actually believe this in Infinite Impact. I walk through a foundational 4 framework that I created that gets entrepreneurs into alignment. And through that, it's taking these 4 common pillars that most businesses know about. So avatar, vision, why, and values, except I teach them very, very differently than I've ever heard anybody else talk about them. And it gets you down to the root of the truth of who you are. Right. And when I do that, like once somebody's in alignment, you can't unsee it. Like it's just such a relief. You no longer have blind spots that are running the show. You can now make more intentional choice. And when you're clear on the one person you are here to serve and support and help and nurture, and you do social media for that person and that person alone, just who cares about the competition and what the next internet marketer says you should do. I actually go against what most people recommend on social media. I don't buy into the attention deficit stuff where I'm going to like put emojis and loud music and clip it 100,000 times and all of these flying captions. It's like, no, because my Heather would hate that. She wants a conversation with Amber Vilhauer. That's what she wants, because she doesn't have anybody in her life that understands her except me. I'm like finally the one that she feels like she can really be open and honest with.
Yeah.
And so through that lens, when you start doing social media that way, you fall in love with it. And you realize you can create social media to be what you want it to be instead
Yeah.
of what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And I recommend you unsubscribe and unfollow every single person that doesn't light you up and help you tap into your creativity.
Yeah.
And that is not aligned with you. But I will say, Dave, I also agree with you that you're not getting your next client through social media. This is a word of mouth relationships game.
Yeah.
It has more than taken care of me for the last 20 years, but social media is validation. So that when people are hearing about you, they can go to your social, feel like you actually hear them, see them, value them, and then that will help their buying decision. So just had to get that out there because I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned, your process, your 4 pillars is exactly what I did 7, 8 years ago when I was a coach trying to be like every other coach in the world and do social media and you have to do dances and you have to use music and what's trending audios. And I just said, you know what? It's so exhausting trying to be someone else every day. And I thought, I'm just going to show up as me from now on. And I'm going to use the same voice that I talk to my wife and kids with. I'm going to use the same voice that I have with my clients. I don't want anyone to ever meet me and go, you sound different. You look different. I want them to be like, I know you. I listen to your podcast. It sounds exactly the same as you. So I'm just me every day. And you know what's really easy? Getting ready to be yourself in the morning takes about 10 seconds. Getting ready to be someone else in the morning, it's like a 2-hour ordeal. It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. I completely agree. I mean, I think as somebody was asking me last week, how are you so confident? And I said, well, is that the word or am I just comfortable with myself?
Exactly.
I think I'm just really comfortable with myself now. Maybe that's what happens in your 40s. Happy to be here.
I heard someone tell me one time that confidence is someone who's trained to be a persona really, really well. That's someone who's confident. Someone who's comfortable has just learned how to be themselves. And they said, I would choose comfort over confidence every single day of the week. And the people out there that you really look at that are most comfortable is because they're just allowed to be themselves.
I love that distinction. You're Dave. Okay, talk to me about competition zero.
Yeah.
What does this really mean?
So before competition zero, you got to remember unreasonable hospitality. Okay, so unreasonable hospitality is the first step to competition zero. And unreasonable hospitality is just the simplification of, look, sales and marketing. I built my business over the last 10 years and I've spent $0 in sales and marketing. I do things like this. I do conversations. I put myself out there. I all the things I teach. Unreasonable hospitality, sales and marketing is just a tax that you pay for not being willing to do these things. If you don't want to be remarkable, if you don't want to give your time, if you don't want to build authentic relationships, you pay a tax called sales and marketing. And you can go do all you want with sales and marketing.
I love that positioning.
But if you want to be remarkable, you can save a ton of money. You're going to have to give up time, but you can save a ton of money. And so I chose to be remarkable from the beginning. Now, unreasonable hospitality is basically taking your business from good to great. I've been in the hospitality business for all of my life, but I've just recently learned how to be in the unreasonable hospitality business. And it's all based on a great book by Will Guidara called Unreasonable Hospitality. It's a fantastic book. It's probably the number one business. It's probably the number one business book I'd recommend to anybody. We just read it in our book club. It's absolutely fantastic. Unreasonable hospitality is doing things people didn't ask for, but will never forget. They didn't ask for it, but they'll never forget it. When my clients work with me, they know unreasonable hospitality. They know that they're not expecting the results that I give them. They're not expecting the work that I do for them. As a pivot that I've made to be a chief strategy officer instead of just a coach, because of what I've seen in the coaching world, and I find it's overcrowded, it's oversaturated. People aren't giving good experiences, and coaching is feeling like there's a coach on every corner. I wasn't a coach anymore. I was a strategist, and so I realized, well, I'm a chief strategy officer now. I'm no longer just coaching. And so when my clients come in, for instance, and they realize, oh my gosh, this is so much more than coaching, that's unreasonable hospitality. So that was the first step towards what I learned was competition zero. But competition zero is based on whenever you compete with someone, even if you win, you lose. Because as soon as we get into competition, we are saying that it's more important to win than our values, than our mission, than our alignment, than our energy, than all those things. So we will stay up late at night. We'll change what we do. We will work on things that we normally wouldn't work on. We'll shift our business because we just want to win. It's not about competition anymore. We have to realize how you eliminate competition. There's a series of about 7 to 10 questions that you have to go through with yourself. And it goes into the depth of competition zero protocols about getting to the depth of what makes you unique and what positions you different than anyone. Not the same, but better. Never be the same, but better. Because when you're the same, but better, someone's always coming to eat your lunch. Do not be number one in your market. Never be number one. Develop your own market. Develop your own market. And if no one else is in your market, you're not counting. If you're the only one in the grocery store, no one says, were you number one here this morning? It doesn't matter. I'm the only one here, right? We don't have to track the numbers. So I realized as becoming a chief strategy officer for my clients, I can develop my own market. This is more than coaching. And so I realized how to, and it's not just what I call myself, it's how I operate every day that makes it no competition. I'm very, very clear that I have zero competition. I'm the best in the world at what I do because nobody does what I do. No one reaches the 7-figure level of coaching and still does one-on-one coaching at the level I do, right? They all move to group, they do this, and all my mentors told me over the last 7 years, cut your one-on-ones, move to group. And I did it for a month. And I pulled it back so quickly because I go, the one-on-one feeds me. I love it. I love you and I having this conversation. It's so fun. Going on podcasts,
I know.
so fun for me, right? It's way better than standing on a stage. I would much rather do this every day than stand on a stage and just talk to a blank audience, right? These conversations, like doing panels, moderating panels and stuff like that on stage. I love the conversation aspect. So the one-on-one really feeds me. So I learned, geez, here's what you do. You become such a reputable and well-known coach that people are referring to. You build your business to 7 figures, and you do what no one else does. You keep doing the one-on-one business. You just do it at higher levels, at better quality, and you focus on the quality of your coaching, not the quantity of clients you have. And am I sacrificing? Absolutely. But long-term, it's better for me. Could I make more money putting 10 people in a group and coaching them all together? Absolutely. Is that what's best for the client? No. Staying one-on-one is unreasonable hospitality. Staying one-on-one is competition zero. Nobody in the 7-figure space does what I do. And so that's what makes me the best in the world at it.
And what's your feeling about AI? We had Carl on Monday, and he was talking about how he was using AI as a business advisor. And how it just completely changed his whole life, and he was able to scale and works very little. He's so fulfilled and aligned and all of these things, and it cost him nothing. And so I'm just curious, peeking under the hood of your business and what you're thinking for your own future. And then I'm sure you're sharing that with your clients as well. Where does AI fit into all of this?
Well, I know in one of your conversations, you were talking about you and this other female entrepreneur. We're talking a year ago that AI was coming, and here it is, right? And you guys were laughing about it. And I was laughing when I was watching it because I said, a year ago, I knew AI was going to be what it is today. And most people have no idea what it will be a year from now. It'll be incredible. But I worried about it. I actually kept it from clients. I didn't talk about it because I go, AI is going to come for my job. I'm going to be in trouble. I did what most entrepreneurs do, and I went to survival mode. How do I protect people from this? How do I still get as much as I can before this takes over? And it was about 6 to 8 months ago that I realized, okay, this is just another pattern. This is going to be chaos. What if I elevate and use competition zero against AI? What if I don't make AI my competition anymore? So I went through the competition zero protocol. I went through the 10 questions. And here's what I ended up doing. I ended up teaching my clients how to best use AI. I ended up saying, listen, AI can save you time. Listen, you hired me as a coach. And for the last few years, you've been coming to me with questions like, how do we do this email better? How do I reach out here better? What's the strategy around this? And, I'm stuck on this tech issue. Can we do a social media plan for the next month? And you've been coming to me and paying me a good amount of money for that kind of work. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to use AI and eliminate all of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show up as your strategist officer. I'm going to show up as the person that you bring your AI responses to, and you and I actually sit down and develop the true execution plan based on you, your business, your mission, your values, and your personality. And so now the low-level work that used to be the high-level work you and I would do if you were a client, you can now do on your own. You don't need me. And if that's what you hired me for, save yourself some money. You don't need me anymore. But if you want to use AI to do the low-level work and then bring the high level work to me. And you and I actually sit down and strategize how to best deploy this, how to use this, and what makes sense for you. Too many people are following AI blindly. They just get an AI response and they cut and paste it onto social media. They get an AI response and they say, that's good. I have a client who uses AI for workouts, and they get an AI workout and they're like, that's great. I went to the gym. Second week in the gym doing the AI workout, they hurt themselves, shoulder busted up, and now they're out of the gym for like 4 weeks.
Oh,
and what happens is when you look at their protocol, you go, okay, look, AI is not perfect. We have to realize this. It was pushing you way too many reps, way too many high weight. And did you ever put into AI that you had a shoulder injury about 20 years ago in school when you were playing sports? They're like, no, I didn't. I'm like, listen, that's why you need human conversation. That's why you need someone to pull the information out of you. You don't know what you don't know. And so AI doesn't know what AI doesn't know either. And so if you're not putting every detail in there, with me and my clients, I have a relationship. The average tenure of my client right now is about 4.2 years, which means they've been working with me for almost 4.5 years on average. So I have enough information in the background that when they bring a strategy to me or when they bring something they want to do, I can pull information out from our history, or I can go more in depth and go, what are the things that most entrepreneurs forget to put into AI? What are the things most entrepreneurs forget to mention when they're stressed out about business, when they're financially insecure, when they're just trying to survive? What do they forget to bring up? That's what a strategist does. They know the questions to ask. They're not emotionally tied to the outcome. So I use AI now as a partner. And I say, listen, when you hire me, I'm going to show you how to use AI so you can do most of the low-level work. And then you bring the high-level work to me, and we work on it, and so much more value comes out of the relationship. So now AI is my best friend. It's my partner. It's not going to take my job ever. I use it all the time.
It's just so, again, refreshing talking to you, because it's like you are articulating my experience just on every single turn. And I'm like, it's so unusual and uncommon. So I really want to just give you a shout out for that.
Thank you.
My position is that AI is only as good as the context you give it and the quality of the question that you ask, period. And most people don't know how to ask great questions. And most people, you just take for granted the way your own brain works sometimes. Like, well, doesn't everybody know how to do context? But I was just reflecting yesterday on a hike I was taking that how often people just skip to what they want to say, and then they forget to give you the backstory so that whatever it is that they want to say even makes sense. And I find myself like in that situation a lot, where then I have to go back and ask a few questions to make sure I understand what they're trying to articulate. And I thought, so I think there's an opportunity for people to learn how to, share better, deeper, more specific context, and how to, ask better questions. And, if you're like, I don't want to spend my time that way, then you need a strategist like Dave and myself, or hire us both together, because we would love to work together more. And I think we would work really well together for you and your company. I'm just going to throw that out there publicly, Dave. And, but I do look at it that if I had the success that I had without AI, what would be possible if I could use AI to do a lot of that lower level work that was so time consuming? Like, what could you have access to? What kind of conversations we could be having? How much faster could we achieve your desired outcomes, and then set our goals even bigger, set our sights even higher? That's the way that I'm choosing to look at it. And last, because I know we're almost out of time, which is such a bummer. I just want to give you open mic, Dave. Like, I know that we could go into authentic relationships. You could zoom out, just share from your heart. Like, what do you want entrepreneurs to really know right now?
Well, there's a really basic question out there that every entrepreneur has to answer, and most of them are scared to answer it, but you have to answer it, because not answering it is also answering it. And you'll love this because it actually goes with your brand too. You have to choose to elevate or escape entrepreneurship. And most people right now are just not choosing. Not choosing is just learning how to escape quietly. You're quietly escaping entrepreneurship because you're not making the moves you need to make. And you're going to blame the market for your escape because sales tanked, you had no more money left, whatever. That's a choice you made. You chose not to pivot, not to make the changes, not to recognize the patterns. If you choose elevate, which is what you should be doing, You're watching videos like this. You're listening to people like Amber or myself. You're doing things that will make it happen. Most people freeze in chaos. Okay. And as soon as you freeze, that's the first step to flee. You have to learn how to fight harder in chaos. Simplify everything and just go. You don't reach your next level. I love chaos because chaos tells me someone just served up on a silver platter for me an opportunity to go to the next level. And they just said, listen, here's what the universe has done for me. The universe says, I'm going to quiet everything down and I'm going to create some massive disruption in the world, which is basically like clearing a path for you to your next level. And if you don't take advantage of that, I think that's the ultimate disrespect to the universe that could ever exist. Because listen, the universe is doing a lot to make this possible for you. This is not happening to you. This is happening for you if you're an entrepreneur. And you have to realize, as entrepreneurs, our biggest benefit in the world is our ability to shift and pivot and make decisions in chaos. When you work in a corporate job, you can't change an entire company because you see patterns coming. You're just one wheel in the cog typically, and you can't make the change you need to make. You can't pivot as quickly as you need to pivot. As an entrepreneur, you can. Chaos and times of disruption are built for entrepreneurs. They're not against you. They're there for you. And I love times like this because this is when my business grows. This is when more clients come to me. This is when I can really show my value. This is when my clients see the whole new level that they never thought was possible. I have clients who struggle during good times. And then when we're working during chaos, they're like, I can't wait for the next chaos period. Like, man, we really take a level up when we do it. I'm like, that's the attitude you need. You need to look for patterns like this in the world.
I was just thinking about that on my hike yesterday, actually, that this is the chance to make a move. It's just like investors. As soon as the stock market goes down, that's when they're buying. That's the opportunity. That, when the housing market foreclosures start to happen, all the investors are like, this is the moment.
Buy up
In
property.
fact, they're saving up, waiting for the next recession. That's what's happening. And this is that moment of opportunity.
See, it's funny because during even the financial crisis, the proof of this, or during the housing crisis, the proof of this is everyone thinks that the housing market tanked and that volume was so low during the housing crisis. And it wasn't. If you look at the number of volumes, the number of transactions that happened, the volume actually increased in sale of property during the crisis. They just don't talk about it because it all happened quietly. The smart ones were out there buying everything up because they knew it will recover, it will come back, and when it does, I can profit. So the volume of transactions went up. The transaction number, the percentage of what houses sold for went down, but the volume of house purchasing went up. It's the same when the stock market crashes. Volume of transactions goes up. People don't realize it. That's when everyone's buying. That's when they're looking for. So right now, as an entrepreneur, you should be having more volume in mental clarity and authentic relationships and competition zero. You should be putting all your volume into these 4 areas, right? Using AI to help you and simplify everything in your world, and watch your business 12 months from now. You're going to thank times like this for the position you're going to be in.
Absolutely. 100% agreed.
Yeah.
Dave, can't get enough of you. We are talking to Dave about having him appear at the Elevate Entrepreneurship Summit in Boulder, Colorado in September. So that information to that event is on the Elevate website. So a little scrolling thing tells you where to go. And we really hope to see you there to go deeper into these conversations. Dave, thank you. I cannot wait for our next conversation.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you for all you're doing out there.
Thank you.